Hi guys, I know it's been a hot minute since I last uploaded anything or even recorded anything for that matter. So I thought let me just update you guys like kind of what's been going on in my life, and also maybe shed some light about stuff that you might be hearing or seeing, you know, on my social media, Twitter and Instagram, etc, etc, etc. And even the Times. Hi, hello, yeah, sorry, what? No, but yeah, let me kind of go back a bit. Excuse the mess behind me. I'm actually in the process of preliminary, still not definite yet, but moving. So I'm kind of trying to like, because I have so much crap, I'm starting the whole packing process from now and everything's kind of all over the place. But let me just get right into it. So I know I did say I was going to start uploading more frequently, etc, etc, etc. But obviously, as you know, with life kind of gets on top of you, and yeah, it kind of I don't know, I'm not looking at the lens, but I think it's because too much light. I got a new light. Can you guys tell? You can tell. I'm sure you can tell because my face probably looks like 100 times better than my old videos. New face, who this? No, so okay, let's just try and break it down. So basically, I got approached to do, this is about 2 months ago, I think, around the time that I was supposed to start recording. Yes. I got approached to do like a little 1-minute video for the BBC, for BBC World, specifically, about just like this whole thing, because you guys know that like from like yonks, is that even a word? Yonks, donkeys years ago, is that even, okay, whatever. Since for a long time, I'd say about the last 2 years, I've been kind of talking about dating, talking about relationship advice, giving relationship. If you guys follow me on Snapchat, if you guys are hardcore fans and you've been on my Snapchat for over 2 years, then you guys would remember the times that I used to basically give advice on Snapchat. People would send me their messages, you know, problems with the relationships, etc. And I would give my advice. And I used to receive like a lot. Like I was just receiving at one point, I think, basically the more advice I would give, the more people would kind of send more. Like, so when people had my advice for other people, because I used to always say my advice on Snap because I thought, you know, anyone can benefit from it, because we all know everyone has relationships even though we don't talk about them, so I thought, you know, let me just put that out there on Snap. And I used to do that, and I'd get even more messages. And obviously I think I've removed the videos now, but I put a couple on YouTube as well because it got tiresome to kind of repeat the same questions again and again on Snapchat, because obviously, as you know, it disappears after 24 hours. So it got to a point, I think, the more advice I would give, the more messages I would receive. Like, they were not stopping. It was like a massive influx. At one point, I think I was receiving hundreds of messages in 1 week. And I remember I had to shut off my Snapchat at that point. I was like, I can't do this. I don't have the mental capacity right now. I like in my own shit right now to be helping you guys. No, I'm joking. But yeah, it was too much. So I kind of shut it down and then came back and wasn't doing it as much, and I'd do it here and there. And then I knew there was a need for it, and I just wanted to get back into it, but I didn't know how. So I started this Instagram page called Muslim Girl Probs, tried to get on top of that, but it was, again, you know, the hustle and bustle of life kind of pulled me away from it. So anyway, so this person, she's an acquaintance of mine. I worked with her before, or I was going to work with her before, so she kind of had me in mind to discuss, you know, dating in the Muslim world, you know, for a short 1-minute video for BBC World. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. At the time, I was like, I'm probably, like, I felt like I was doing her a favour more than she was doing me a favour, because I was like, okay, no, it's fine. I'm sure she can't find anyone else, so I'll do it, whatever. Like, I was like doing a solid in my mind, but little did I know, in retrospect, it actually helped me more than anyone. But anyway, so I did this little video, whatever. You know, they filmed it. I went into Central London, we filmed it, and can I just say, I actually looked hideous in it. Hideous. Like, to the point that my friends were like to me, you don't, like I get you edit your photos on Instagram and stuff, but you don't even look that bad in real life, so I just don't understand what's going on. Like, it was so bad to write my ill. So it was really bad. Anyway, I remember the screenshot was me looking like this, and literally with my tattoos out, I looked like literally a guy from a pub. Like I looked like a lad, a proper lad. Honestly, and not just a lad that goes to the gym, like he was proper packing. Oh my god, it was so ugly. Anyways, I'll try and put the screenshot in here. It's so disgusting, like do not judge me. Okay, I already know how I look right now because there's too much light. I can't see anything and the eyelashes are so long. I can't see nothing right now. So this could be really blurred for all I know. I don't know. Oh, it is blurred, isn't it? Let me unblur this before anything happens, because I actually filmed one video once and the whole thing was blurred. It was actually really annoying. But anyway, so after I did that video, like the way that it was worded, I remember during the interview, like while the girl was interviewing me for this video, she's like, yeah, so like just introduce yourself. And I was like, okay, I'm Thana, I'm a social media influencer, if even that, micro influencer, if even that. I've only got 50,000 followers. But she goes, no, but like, you know, you say you're like halal, like I swear to God, I did not come up with this myself. But they were like, you know, halal dating guru. And I was like, that's so cringe. I don't want to call myself that because it's cringe. It's like, everyone's gonna be like, clearly you don't have a perfect relationship, or you can't hold down a relationship, so why are you the dating group? Well, that can't be asked for this. But anyway, the way that the video went, I was labelled this halal dating guru. And I just went with it, and that's what came off of it. So BBC Asian Radio Network, BBC Radio Asian Network contacted me, and they're like, oh, we'd love you to have you on our show to, you know, to speak about, you know, this and blah blah. And obviously, as with like, you know, with media and stuff, like they obviously highlight the catchy kind of slogans, and obviously they kind of highlighted, you know, the comments that I would receive or the backlash that I would receive, you know, talking about dating, you know, as a Muslim woman, etc. And they were like talking, and that was kind of the headline, so to speak. So that headline caught the attention of other media kind of groups, are they called groups? Media publishing people things, i.e. the radio network and other places as well. And it was of interest, so I kind of went on radio. I'll put the links for the videos and the radio podcast, I think it is, in the description, so whoever hasn't heard it can hear it basically. But yeah, so they kind of rolled with the whole like, oh, you've been receiving backlash, I get called a whore, I get called, which I do, by the way, prostitute, I do, by the way. I think one of the main things that was said to me, I think it was a comment on one of my YouTube videos, someone who had a Muslim name, who was a Muhammad something, was like to me, I hope you get gang raped, or something like that, something along them lines. And like, I get like, to this day I get these comments, but I just ignore. I've learnt just to ignore. Like, even just the other day I got someone sent me a message saying you should be stoned. Right, okay, cool. Like, I don't know where you managed to get a phone with internet inside the cave that you're living in, but okay. Anyway, so fast forward, Times contacted me, which was amazing, to do basically a feature with me, which I'm gonna get for you right now. I don't know why I didn't get it earlier. Obviously, I'm out of breath. Anyway, you guys ready? I don't know how this is gonna mirror. Yeah, it's gonna be upside down, but oh well. You can see it's the Times. And can you see little old me? Wait 1 second, let me focus that. Can you see me? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm on the front page there. And it says, young Muslim and looking for love, question mark. Ask the dating guru. And then you open. Are you ready, guys? Done! There I am. How bloody ugly do I look though? Yeah. So, then you open. And you bag it. There we go. Look. Look. Just look. I never really spoke to a boy until I met my first husband. That's the truth. This hoe jabber that you guys all think is a hoe. This is the truth, basically. But anyway, I'm so proud of that. So proud of that. But anyway. Right now, where I'm at, that's basically how the halal dating guru thing started. Right now where I'm at, I'm working on a couple of things, which I'm not going to talk about until they materialise, obviously. Obviously it's not jinx myself like I always jinx myself. But put that aside, I just wanted to kind of like address the situation because it's gotten so much backlash, and a lot of people are kind of taking it out of context, like, no such thing, what do you mean halal dating, there's no such thing as halal dating, okay, fine. I just want to say this, I'm going to say this once, really, no it's a lie, I'm probably going to say it every single time someone talks crap, but look, all I've said is, A, we're all growing up, the new generation, we're embarking on relationships to try and meet the one, to try and meet our husbands. And the problem with that is, because it's of course frowned upon, because it's not allowed, we already know it's not allowed. I'm not saying it's halal to have relationships without marriage. I'm never ever in a million years gonna ever say that, because that's not the case. It's clearly written in the Quran, and it's called zina, by the way. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it happens. I'm not encouraging it. I'm just saying it happens. And unfortunately, when it happens, it's happening a lot in secret. And I'm not saying go put your relationships on blast. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying these girls, these young girls, you know, 17, 18, even 16, okay, all the way up to the ages of like 35, 40. That I've received messages from. These girls, like, they need some guidance. You know, if a guy, you know, acts a certain way, that would show, like, if I was to look at it, the experience that I've had, or the experience that I've seen in front of me, you know, in terms of like my friends and stuff, like what they've gone through, I would say to this girl, you know, he's not serious, just walk away. Whereas this girl might not have that experience, she might not know, you know, the friend that she might turn to might either not have that experience, might turn on her and like spread, you know, information about her being, you know, in a relationship and ruin her reputation. And what could happen, and I've seen it, and I've seen messages of it, like, you guys don't understand, I've seen messages, loads of them. You know, girls lose their virginity on the wrong guy, girls, you know, get pregnant and have to abort behind their parents' back, and they have to go to, like, I don't know, like, dodgy clinics just to avoid, you know, being seen, or just to avoid, you know, word getting back to their families. They don't go through the normal prescribed method, which would be through your GP or whatever it is, or, you know, sexual health care, whatever it is. There's just so many problems that could have been avoided. Like, if that girl had solid advice, you know, on what signs to avoid, what red flags to avoid in men, and her one was giving 10 of those red flags, or even just one, she'd be like, you know what, like, I know this guy isn't serious, so I'm not going to put myself in a vulnerable position where I, you know, end up sleeping with him, or end up losing my virginity with him, you know? And I'm not saying all guys are trash, and I'm not saying, you know, it's okay to have a relationship. It's not. But realistically speaking, like, it's happening everywhere. I guarantee every single person watching this video has a Muslim relative, friend, acquaintance, whatever it is, colleague, something, who is embarking on a relationship that they're hiding from their family, or they're hiding from their parents, or, you know, or it's a non-Islamic relationship. Everyone knows someone to that level. So I'm just like, we have a problem. So just because it's not allowed, and just because it's haram to date, why are we sweeping it under the carpet and not addressing it, and allowing more and more girls to make mistakes, and, you know, and like end up, I don't know, marrying a freshie from back home, or if that's not your cup of tea, then that's fine. But you know, their parents will find out, you know, all hell will break loose. They end up marrying someone they don't want to marry, just to kind of like, you know, maintain or kind of like salvage their reputation, and then end up getting divorced, and then they're treated as second-class citizens, or like, you know, second-class goods, or whatever it is. Why are we not addressing these issues? And yeah, there are loads of dating advice, like, you know, gurus. I really don't like that name, but okay, gurus. And, you know, sources online, but it's very difficult for so many girls, as I've seen, to kind of basically kind of amalgamate the two and try and make it relatable to a Muslim person. So you've got people, okay, here's an example. So if someone says to you, if a girl's with a guy, okay, westernized society, it'd be very, very normal for, like, for instance, you know, for maybe perhaps that guy to kind of want more physicality, you know, early on it might be a norm, it might be something that's like, it is, let's be real, it is a norm, because obviously they don't have that whole thing of, or they don't adhere to the whole thing of marriage before sex before marriage can happen. Whereas with a Muslim girl, obviously if a guy is pushing for that, Muslim guy, because Muslim guys do, she needs to know that the chances are of him being a decent human being and someone who would basically honour her and end up marrying her are going to be quite low, because he's not respecting her as a Muslim woman. He's just trying to have his way with her. Whereas, you know, the advice might be different if you're with someone for like 2-3 years. And for instance, you know, I was in a relationship before I got married. You know, I know what it is to have a person who's decent, who honours you and follows through to marriage. So you can see, and I've had that twice, to be honest with you. So in terms of like, really, ultimately, that's what the goal is. If we're out here, regardless if it's halal or haram, we're trying to meet our soulmates to get married to them. You know, ultimately our goal is to marry this person. It's not just to casually date, it's not to commit haram, it's to try and make it halal as soon as possible, really. As soon as you can basically say, this is someone that I could definitely see myself, you know, living with and spending the rest of my life with and being the father to my children. So I digress, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Clearly there's one thing I haven't changed in the 2-month period that you guys haven't received videos, is I'm still talking till the cows come home and waffling on. Anyways, so I guess what I realised pretty quickly was that there is a massive need for stuff like this to be discussed, and at the cost of me being labelled loose or a hoe or whatever it is, I think that's a very, 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 very small price for me anyway to pay to be able to advise and help even just one girl. Like, I get girls that are like literally in the age ranges of over 35, 40 even, coming up to me telling me, like, I watched your one of your videos and you don't understand how many mistakes it stopped me from making. To hear that, and to hear countless of messages in my DMs telling me how, you know, how appreciative they are of these videos and of me speaking out about these topics, that's enough for me. That is really enough for me. So whoever wants to talk crap about what I do and what I am doing and what I am kind of the cause that I'm pushing out there, what is this cause that I'm pushing out there? That's a good question. It is to provide some advice and some guidance to these girls who are embarking on relationships anyway. They're doing it anyway, and they have no one to turn to. They can't turn to their parents, obviously, because it's in secret usually. You know, they're dating in secret, whatever it is. They can turn to their friends, but they're putting themselves at a vulnerable position by turning to their friends. And also, you know, friends don't always give you the best advice. But yeah, so that is basically how this halal dating guru came about. Just in case anyone was wondering, like, I didn't really just go out there and be like, yo guys, I'm the halal dating guru, follow me and listen to me, listen to what I've got to say. It's actually come off the back of like 2 years of kind of on-off kind of work that I've done within that kind of topic. But I've literally just done it just to like kind of as like a side thing, and I think the more I get contacted about it, the more I realise it shouldn't really be a side thing, it should be a main thing. I mean, when I first started on social media, it was purely for like fashion blogging and makeup, etc, etc, and obviously for my whatever reason, i.e. my midlife crisis. I don't even call it midlife crisis, because every time I say, oh, it's a midlife crisis, I'm like, well, you're only 25, how is that a midlife crisis? Well, inshallah, I've got a long life, and inshallah, that was my quarter life crisis, whatever it is. I had my, you know, crisis, let's just call it crisis, took off my scarf, did my own thing, twice, wasn't able, obviously, to pursue hijabi blogging, hijabi fashion blogging without a scarf. It was going to be a bit awkward. Obviously it's not awkward now, but back then it was awkward. So I didn't do it, I didn't really pursue it, and I had so many years break in between, and in those years break in between so many people that I remember used to follow me. have now excelled and are doing amazingly well, which I'm so happy about. But at this current stage now, the market, the hijabi fashion market, if you like, is quite saturated. And really and truly, I'm not that like, I love my fashion, don't get me wrong, even though it might not look like it right now. I look like homeless, but with my little jumper like this right now. But anyway, I guess the passion for it is gone, and I want to do something more kind of meaningful, and this for me is meaningful. Like helping people in this capacity is meaningful for me, because I know Lord knows I've made so many mistakes in my life. I've, you know, spoken to people that probably weren't the best people to speak to, but you know, they've all been lessons, clearly. You know, they're like, you know how they're like, you're either going to be a lesson or a blessing. Yeah, they've all been lessons. All of them. Not all of them, obviously. Got married twice, so clearly there were 2 blessings there. I think it's very woman empowering as well to have these outlets and kind of having, you know, a source to turn to kind of strengthen them and give them a bit more strength to move on from people who have hurt them, to kind of like see people for who they really are, and not to put blind faith and hope in a guy just because he's Muslim, because duck boys are duck boys across all ethnicities, genders, not genders, what we're talking about, hello, well there are duck girls if we're honest. Duck boys are duck boys across all ethnicities and religions. I mean, they have very, very kind of underlying traits. You know, they might have like a bit of tweaking here and there that make them slightly different, but they're still the same. So it's very kind of important for our girls to know that just because the guy that you're talking to is Muslim, don't think he ain't gonna screw you over, because he can and he will. Possibly, hopefully not, obviously. And do you know what? Do you know what else? I don't know why I even forgot about this, because this is like a category that I'm in. I also want to change perceptions of widowed or divorced women, and women who have obviously, like, they've been divorced after the nikah process, because I want to push more for nikahs to happen, just to make relationships halal. That's the way that I live my life. I just believe I'd rather, to me, pleasing God is more important than our society, than pleasing our society. Our society would look down on a girl that's been, you know, had her nikah 2 or 3 times, but in the eyes of God, you know, she's not done anything wrong. So I'm kind of pushing to remove those ideologies away and just not make it a big deal anymore. Like, okay, cool story, bro. Yeah, I've had 3 husbands, and what? And what? And what? I've had to. Here's hoping for number 3. I'm joking. I'm joking. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. So with that being said, majority of my videos are gonna kind of remain focused on boys. Boys, boys, boys. And if you're here for that, then hey, continue with me. And if you're not, if that annoys you, as my comment section has seen in previous videos, oh my god, all you talk about is boys, then good day to you, and it's been nice. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for staying here this long. Of course I'm gonna still vlog, try to anyways. But yeah, I guess that is all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to say. But yeah, so without further ado, I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go. But yeah, I love you guys as always. Thank you for all the support from all the people that are not so judgmental, who can see beyond what I'm trying to do, can see beyond the superficialness of what I'm trying to do. This isn't to lead girls astray. This isn't to encourage dating by any way, shape or form, and people need to understand that. Because the advice that I give, if you've ever heard the advice that I give, it's very, very kind of compatible as much as possible with our religion. So yeah. Anyway, people who used to be on my Snapchat would know this. So yeah. But yeah, if you don't already follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. Link in the description. And if you don't already follow Muslim Girl Probs, which I'm going to start focusing more on, follow that too as well. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and turn on post notification in the button that turns on post notification. I don't know where it is. I'm sorry, I don't know where it is, but you're gonna have to read and just click it, please. Thank you. Bye.